All right, DJ, you were one of the unfortunate ones who drafted Le'Veon Bell in the first round of a fantasy draft. How are you feeling after today's terrible news?
Well, this fucking guy pretty much ruined my entire season. I kind of hung in there, was waiting until like week 8, then week 10, week 12 for this motherfucker to get back. But I was gonna make the playoffs, and then he just pulls the rug from out of me. I might murder him.
Sort of makes you want to drink, right?
Makes me want to drink.
Well, then let's get loaded. Because this is the Loaded Box Podcast,
where we never finish first because we finish last.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. We are your hosts, Ben Morgan and DJ Primo, and we are back. It is NFL Week 11 already. It's our preview podcast, number 1 of 2 preview podcasts that we'll do this week. This one is going to focus on daily fantasy sports, stacks, bargains, just general advice. We'll hit some fantasy football listener questions. But DJ, I know you want to talk a little bit about the big news of the day, Le'Veon Bell not signing the tender and literally throwing away an entire season in the prime of his career.
Do you think maybe that's the worst draft pick, of all time fantasy football-wise? Obviously, you couldn't predict he's going to sit out, but it's got to be the most devastating. I mean, he went number 1, he went number 2. He probably didn't go any lower than number 3 in every possible league.
It sucks because he literally did the same thing last year, but showed up the week before and was able to play the rest of the year.
And I was just like, oh, he's going to show up this week. He's going to show up. I'm not no worries. I'm like, oh, he'll show up next week. He'll show up. He's just flexing some muscle. Every fucking week, I was like, oh, he'll be here. And every time they had breaking news, oh, they say Le'Veon's going to show up this upcoming week. I'm like, yes, here we go. They expect him to show up. So I figured if he would walk in the building at literally 3:59 today and fucking just be like, yep, I'm here. But I don't know if he just respects Connor that much to just let him whatever and I'll go get my money. But my prediction here is this fucking guy may not ever play again. He said he'd be okay with retiring. I'm going to go on a limb and say he's not going to get the quarterback money that people are like.
You know that's a fake tweet, right?
Wants.
I think you got that tweet about him alleging that he wants quarterback money is a fake tweet.
Well, the tag money would be like quarterback money.
Yeah, well, the issue is now he's 27, and all of a sudden he wants all this money, and he just sat out an entire NFL season, and now he's going to come back to a team that's never had him before. Right before he's starting to turn like that 30-year-old mark, it's like, he said he keeps doing this for the good of the position. He wants running backs to get paid more. Man, he might be the lamb here. He might have sacrificed himself. That's a terrible decision.
I mean, why? And tell me why any other team would ever want to go pay him. I don't care if it's 15, 17, 20 million that he wants. Why would a team ever pay him that?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't justify it. You know what's going to happen because the Dolphins are such a terrible organization? He'll be in Miami next year.
If he does end up on a team, I'll probably spite not draft him.
Yeah, this is the ultimate burn in fantasy. Like, if you took him this year and he comes back next year, you're not drafting him again, no matter what.
No,
you can't touch him.
He'll probably tear his ACL or some shit anyways.
Most likely he'll do a Des Bryant where he'll come back for a week and then just blow his knee out. Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah, well, let's talk about something you do have a little bit of control over, and that's daily fantasy sports. The beauty is you don't have to ever use Le'Veon Bell because you can use whoever you want. So we're looking at an NFL Week 11, DJ here. What is your quarterback situation looking like?
Are you ready for this quarterback? Because I don't think you're ready for this.
I don't think I'm ready. All right, let's shoot it at me.
I'm going with Blake Bortles, $6,800 at home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, honestly, at this game, it all comes down to the mental edge. It's all about the mental edge. Jaguars and Bortles, they mentally own Big Ben and the Steelers. And he comes into this game, Ben, I know you didn't watch football last week because you suck at life, but he comes into this game confident after a 320-yard, 2-touchdown game in which he was leading a comeback where his dope-ass wide receiver, dumb guy, over the middle, perfect throw, catches it and then fumbles it. Bortles is about to come back and beat the Colts. He's confident. If you don't think Bortles comes out and dominates this game, I'll be the one sitting on my awesome King's chair, hands by my dick, saying, suck it.
So my question here would be, we just saw the Steelers defense pretty much handle the Panthers. I think McCaffrey scored every single one of those touchdowns. Newton didn't even do that much. Newton is hands down a better quarterback than Bortles. I agree with what you said that the Jaguars seem to sort of have the Steelers' number a little bit here, and Bortles have put up some pretty good games. I mean, look at that playoff win they had last year. They scored like 40-some points. You have every single quarterback to choose from, and you're going to take Blake Bortles? I mean, come on.
Steelers week.
Before I get to my stack, I want to ask you your thoughts. Well, first and foremost, you told me that I sucked at life. I went to an NFL game, asshole. That's why I didn't get to watch
NFL
football.
games anymore. That's like the worst. That's worse than sucking.
And I actually,
there's nothing better than sitting on your couch watching every single fucking game injected into your veins it's like fucking heroin being injected into you, and you're just like, oh.
And you know the worst part? So they had NFL Direct TV, the Red Zone channel, on the big screen at Lambeau, and it was beautiful. I was watching it. It was starting to get to witching hour. They changed it to the 100th Packers anniversary season and did all the old history and everything. And I'm like, no, it's witching hour. Red Zone, like, what are you doing to me? So, yeah, I agree. You were
essentially done with the Packer-Dolphin game at that point, so.
Yeah, basically, and the worst thing about it, like you said, it's so great to watch games at TV. Yesterday, I just bought my Dolphins-Vikings ticket, so I have to do it again this year. So.
God, you suck at this thing.
The loyalty's real. Before I get into my stack of the week, what are your thoughts on using Dak? We saw him break out a little bit recently. He's only $7,400 at Atlanta. That's only the 10th most expensive quarterback. Falcons pass D, we know it's trash. 30th against the pass. Dak, the last 4 games, has put up 30, 20, 16, and 22. He's starting to sort of figure this whole fantasy quarterback relevancy thing out. Would you be comfortable using him against that bad defense?
I mean, Dak is what he is. I'm not going to waste money on a guy who I just think is an average quarterback and could put up a dud every time. But I'll get more into the I'd rather have Blake Bortles, but I'll get more into that Cowboys game in a little while.
Okay, the reason I bring up Dak is because I love my stack. This is probably the most confident stack of the week that I've had in quite some time. And if you don't go with my stack, if you want to go with DJ's route, go ahead and use Bortles. But I like Dak. I'm not hating on Dak at all this week. I actually have to use him in a real fantasy like redraft league. Not even mad about it this week. But my stack of the week is brought to you by the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz, 7,700 on FanDuel. Zach Ertz, 7,600. They are at the Saints. Wentz is only the 8th most expensive quarterback, and he's going up against the 31st ranked pass defense. He's had 20-plus fantasy points in 5 of his last 6, and 14 touchdowns in his last 6 games, which means he's had double-digit touchdowns in every single game he's played in this year, except for that first one coming back from injury. Look at the other side of this, Zach Ertz. He's the most expensive tight end. He just dominated on Sunday Night Football. 14 catches, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's 34 FanDuel points. That's Todd Gurley style FanDuel points. He's at double digits in his last 6. Over those 6 games, he's averaging nearly 20 fantasy points per game. So typically on tight ends in FanDuel and DraftKings, I'm going for the bargain guy that can get a touchdown. This week, I don't like that. My favorite stack includes the best tight end this week in Ertz and a quarterback going up against literally the worst pass defense in the league. My stack of the week, maybe my stack of the year, Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz. Book it.
You'd like to think that, but the whole, the Eagles look like shit. I mean, I thought that Carson Wentz was starting to come back. He wasn't.
He is.
I mean, he was all right. He was pretty good, but he wasn't it felt like he was going to bust out and drop 5 touchdowns this game or 4 touchdowns this game. And Zach Ertz is really the one guy he's relied on. And I like using Ertz any week, but I don't trust Carson. I just don't trust him. At this point, there's other guys I think I'd rather have. I just think that the Saints could get up so much in that game that they're just pass rushing. And I know you like to think they're going to be throwing it a ton, but I think you're just putting pressure on the quarterback and putting Carson Wentz in a lot of shitty situations.
I'd agree with you, but then we would both be wasting our FanDuel money. So,
yeah.
With that, what kind of running back are you looking at this week? You got a bargain guy? You look leaning towards an expensive guy? What's your strategy at running back this week?
It's all bargain. It's all bargain this week. So at running back, I'm going Dougie Fresh. Doug Martin, $6,200 at Arizona.
I'm surprised he's that expensive.
What?
I'm surprised he's even that expensive.
Did I see you had him when I was scrolling through or not?
Nope. I do not have him.
You might have wrote him down. Anyways, so Doug Martin playing Arizona. he was probably the one and only, like I said, you didn't watch the games. I'm just going to mention this all day. You didn't watch the games last week. So Doug Martin was probably the one and only bright spot for the Raiders last week against the Chargers. And he gets to face now a Cardinals defense, which is ranked 29th. They're against the run. They're really great against the pass, but they're 29th against the run. You should plan on seeing a heavy dose of Doug Martin this weekend. And he has those linemen up front who can open up those big holes like I do with your wife. Just open up those huge holes. Just spread them. And add to that the fact that the Raiders essentially have no wide receivers. I don't know what this rumor is with Jordy Nelson. I don't think he's going to retire. It doesn't sound like a Jordy Nelson thing. I think that's just kind of like a stupid, made-up, I don't know what you call it, gossip thing going on. And they just have no pass game. So, it's 1950 for John Gruden every week. He likes running the ball. He might bust out the power sweep with Doug Martin this week and just run that like 10 times. So I like Doug Martin a lot this week.
If you're going to use a Raider, Doug Martin probably is the best one, obviously, with Lynch being on IR. He's out of the picture now, so Martin's your guy there. I don't mind the matchup. It's Arizona. It's a beatable team. They're an okay defense, I would say, maybe at best. So, yeah, there's something there. But at the end of the day, I mean, once again, it's DFS. I mean, you can use anyone. I know you're going for a bargain guy here, but a Raider? You want to use a Raiders running back?
You can use Todd Gurley and throw Doug Martin out there.
It's not, like I said, if I'm using a Raider, that'd be the one I would use. I really like my bargain guy. I just scrolled right over Doug Martin.
It's not two shitty teams.
He didn't even register for me because I have a bargain play this week that's guaranteed to get you 10 to 15 points. Do you want 10 to 15 points from a bargain player?
I have a feeling we have the same bargain player.
At running back? It's not Doug Martin. You have another one?
Well, yeah, I do.
Oh, shoot. Does his name rhyme with Malix Malin?
I don't know what the fuck you just said.
Nothing rhymes with what I just said.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to that.
Well, my bargain play is Alex Collins. I could not think of anything to rhyme with him. He's only $6,000. He's versus the Bengals. He's averaging literally 10 fantasy points per game. Bengals trash versus run, 31st in fantasy points allowed to running backs. He played the Bengals already this season, obviously. Week 2, he scored 11 points on 12 touches. That's almost a point per touch. That's not too bad. Alex Collins, we know this. He does not get the yards, but he's got 7 total touchdowns this year, and he's got double-digit touches every single week except week 1. His high score this entire year is only 17 points. He's not a big boom candidate, but he's going to get you in that solid 10 to 15 range. So my bargain play at running back, I got another guy I want to talk about, but if you're looking for a bargain at running back, maybe to go with that Kamara, maybe to go with that Gurley, I like Alex Collins.
Yeah, I mean, so I might as well fucking talk about it because we're there and ruin the day. But yeah, that's my flex. Alex Collins, 6,000 versus Cincinnati. So I literally put down in my notes, the Bengals are the worst at everything.
They are.
Literally the worst at everything.
And now they've added Hugh Jackson to the coaching staff.
Yeah. That's hilarious. That's my favorite thing ever. So Marvin Lewis, to save his job, brings in Hugh Jackson. For only 6 G's, I wrote, you're getting a guy who should have a minimum. It's kind of like, it's weird that we said the same thing. A minimum of 70 yards and a touchdown with 30 yards through the air. So that's like 13 points I was giving him right there.
With a maximum of 90 yards, though. He'll get between 70 and 90. He won't get more than that.
It won't be anything too crazy, but like, it's a lock. I guess that's more than 13.
Yeah.
It's 13 plus 30. It's like 16 points I'm giving him.
So you like Alex Collins in the flex this week? That's your flex play?
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking Bengals.
What are your thoughts on this, either as a running back or a flex? Do you think it's time to stick with David Johnson? He's 7,900. He's the opposite guy of Doug Martin this week. He's 7,900 versus the Raiders. Raiders are 30th versus running backs. David Johnson finally went off last week. He had 34 points against the Chiefs. The week before that, in the first game with Byron Leftwich, as the offensive coordinator, he had 12. But they're finally starting to feed him. He had 28 touches last week. Over 170 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And he's playing the Raiders. We just saw Melvin Gordon put up 25 points against them. Do you think that 25-point mark, do you think David Johnson goes over or under 25?
I mean, they're going to essentially, like I've said before, Leftwich doesn't want to get fired, right? So what do? You just fucking give the ball to David Johnson. So whether it's 10 touches in the air, screen plays, draw dump offs, and 15 on the ground. Yeah, easily. And he's going to get the ball anytime they get inside the 10-yard line. Like, besides Larry Fitzgerald, he's probably the number 2. But otherwise, outside that, David Johnson is the top guy you're going to go to. I'm doing that throat thing because I'm drinking beer. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I know you gave me shit because he wasn't a bargain like that one week, but like he's a bargain at 7,400.
That's what I'm trying to say.
For being the running back he is. So actually, he was a bargain for the price point.
Right.
Your fucking stupid word that he was at.
Yeah, because if you think about where he started the season, like he was in that echelon with Gurley, with Zeke Elliott, with Le'Veon Bell minus Le'Veon Bell not playing. Like he was with those kind of guys. Like that's where he's getting drafted. That's where his price point started. And just because the Cardinals struggled so bad and they had such a difficult schedule, well, now that they're feeding him, now that the schedule's backed off a little bit, David Johnson is sort of proving as to what he was. And I think he's just going to continue to go up as they continue to use him. So I'm all about those 2 running backs this week, Johnson and Alex Collins.
Why do you think like FanDuel chooses to put Le'Veon on? Like, what's their point? Is it like I don't know. Are they like trying to show you where they would have them just based off of? Is it like a? I don't know, a way for me to understand where everybody else is right. I don't know. It's like weird. Is it like?
I don't get why they put it on there. I think my theory on it, the whole thing is it's to be a constant reminder that it is daily fantasy. You can use whoever you wanted, but guess what? You were in a redraft league and you took him. Here
is
he is
on
again.
There right now?
He's always on there. He's
like, will he be on there the rest of the year?
Oh my God, probably. It's just going to be a sick reminder
like
every single week.
84,000 or 8,400 again next week.
Probably.
I didn't even look at him.
So what are you looking at for a wide receiver this week?
All right. Again, I think we have another. This is the only reason I know this because I did put these in first and then I scrolled up. But I think we have another similar guy. Actually, I think you kind of talked about him. I'm taking Amari Cooper, 6,600 at Atlanta here. Look, I know you didn't watch the games this last weekend. But have you been watching Amari Cooper? Can I ask you something? I was in Mitchell Renza's. He was in a live chat on Monday night, I believe it was, and I was just hammering them with questions, and they were answering like all mine. But the one he missed was my Amari Cooper, where I actually asked one serious question, and he didn't answer it. So anyways, what in the fuck were the Raiders doing with him? What were they doing? This guy, legit, you watch him? I was watching him all game. He's an elite route runner and a great wide receiver. Like, he can't be guarded. There was one play, Dak didn't. This is why I don't like Dak. He got open 2 different times. On the comeback and then on the free play after like the Rodgers type of stuff that he does, the secondary breakout where he made another move to go up the field. Like, I don't understand what the Raiders are doing with him because I mean watching him his run routes is like borderline like Odell Beckham running routes. Like, it is that good. The way he comes in out of the cuts is incredible. So I don't know what they were doing or what the deal was the last 2 years, but fire everybody and bring in a whole new crew in Oakland. But now he's going up against the 30th ranked pass defense and 30th ranked overall defense. Give me all the shares of Koopa.
No, I'm with you. And it's funny because you ask like, okay, what are they doing? And it's, in my opinion, it's a clear all-out tank mode. Like, they are just throwing away the season. They're trying to recoup as many draft picks and just start fresh and start young with Gruden moving forward. But at the end of the day, those draft picks, what do you want them to turn into be? You want them to turn into guys that can warrant a second contract. That's exactly what Khalil Mack is. That's exactly what Amari Cooper could have been. Cooper has struggled with drops the last couple of years. I get that. But like you said, that guy is a top 5 route runner. He has like really underrated speed. He's quicker than most people think. His hands, a little leery there, but the guy can high point a ball, great route runner. Like he does it all. He's exactly what you want. And I feel like the offensive system that they had there was just old people and Carr and Cooper, and then they were just ignoring him. And I won't not understand it. They did get a 1st-round pick for him, which is awesome return. But at the same token, it's like, that's who you want to pick anyways. You want to pick the guy that's good. So I'm not quite sure what road they're going down there.
It's incredible. And you know what I've seen on Twitter that it's really annoying me that I'm going to use right now, but it's one of those things that's just overused constantly. And maybe you've seen it, but you're kind of old, so you don't see these things. It's imagine thinking Amari Cooper isn't
Oh,
good.
I hate
Have you
those.
seen those?
I want to do.
Imagine thinking.
We need to bring back the shit's got to go because I always wanted to do this. That shit's got to go. Imagine thinking that this guy's bad. Imagine going to fuck yourself. I hate that, man. I just despise.
Imagine thinking.
I hate that. You're right. I was going to talk a little bit about Amari Cooper because top of the like the food chain here for wide receivers, the most expensive ones. It's a bit of a tough week for them. So I have a couple of bargain options. One was Cooper, he's 6,600. Another one was Fitzgerald. You talked a little bit about him. He's going against the Raiders. He's 5,900. And then Corey Davis, 6,200 at Indy. Don't look now, but Corey Davis, your boy in the offseason, my guy last offseason. Last two games, not been too bad, and he had like 7 for 100 and a touchdown last week. I don't mind any of those guys. Week. What's that?
He balled out this last week, dude.
Yeah, against the Patriots, who sort of looked okay a little bit on defense here and there. I know that you think that they can be had just about any single week, but now he gets the Colts, and the Colts can get had. So if Corey Davis is still only $6,200, if you're looking for a bargain play, Fitzgerald, Amari Cooper, Corey Davis, I am fine with any of those guys.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's play our favorite game when it comes to wide receivers. It's the DFS version of Who Am I?
Who am I?
Are you ready for this?
Sure.
All right, here are your hints. I've got 3 hints. If you need the 4th one, I'll give it to you. So at any point, I'll throw a little mix in here. At any point, if you know who it is, just tell me to stop. Give me your guess, all right? All right, clue number 1. I am, and don't look it up because I almost give you the answer right here. I am the 5th most expensive wide receiver despite having the juiciest matchup of the week.
That doesn't help
me. Number 2, I have had double-digit targets in 7 straight games. Number 3, this might be the one, I don't know. I did not score at all the first 4 weeks, but now I have at least 1 touchdown in 3 of my last 5 games, and I am definitely not touchdown dependent because I still, despite those low touchdowns, average 16 fantasy points per game. If any, I tried to make it a little tougher this week. I've been a little too easy on you.
It's like my mind immediately went to Julio, but he only has 2 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
Yep, so you can eliminate him. Good thought process, though.
I want to go Hopkins, but he scored a couple touchdowns, I think, after week 2.
Yeah, not Hopkins.
And I had I'm thinking top 5 guys.
You're right on the right track. You are definitely on the right track.
Who else is there even? Antonio Brown struggled right away, but he would still be a top 2 wide receiver, so that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, not AB. God, you're right there.
Can't be Devontae.
I don't want to give you the last hint because I'm just throwing out allegations, man.
Target heavy?
Oh, real target heavy. Real target heavy. He's been flying under the radar. That's why I'm a big fan of him this week.
I don't know if this is the one, but I'm trying to think top 5 wide receivers. It's not Michael Thomas because he's dominated.
Yep. All right, I'm going to give you the 4th hint. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Outside of football, I am a fan of pizza, strippers, and white powdery substances.
And boats?
Yes, and boats. You got it.
Odell Beckham Jr.?
It is Odell Beckham Jr. And honestly, if you're going to go with an expensive wide receiver this week, I love me some Odell. What did he have last night? Another 70 or 80 and 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize how I didn't think he was that target heavy. I just thought he wasn't really targeted at all in the first few weeks.
Yeah, right away. But literally, the last 7 games, he's had double-digit targets. He's 11, 12, 10, 12. It's been ridiculous. His yards are always there.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last night.
And if you remember, we talked about this earlier because he started off the season getting yards just constantly. Could not find the end zone. But we said, don't panic. Don't sell him low. Historically, the touchdowns are going to come later with that guy. It just takes a little bit while for them to understand how to get him the ball in the end zone. It's like Julio Jones, but not quite to that extent. But now the touchdowns are starting to come. He's only the 5th most expensive this week. Real great, juicy matchup. I am all over Odell. I'm going with an expensive wide receiver as well.
Who are they playing?
Tampa. Tampa is terrible against wide receivers.
Yeah. They both suck, obviously.
Yeah.
So
that
should be interesting.
Nice. Well, my tight end is involved in my stack of the week, so I have nothing there. And you hit your flex already, correct?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's move on to a listener question. This one's a little bit different because this person lost Cooper Cup, as did I, which kind of sucks.
It sucks for you guys.
Apologies to all the Cooper Cup losers out there. On the
Mhm.
free agent wire, they can pick between Christian Kirk, Dante Moncrief, and Cortland Sutton. Who are you having them pick up?
Moncrief is on
Jags
because they just beat they just lost to the Colts. And that was like the Moncrief game, but I wouldn't touch him. I'd have to go with Cortland Sutton just because the fact that they lost to Demarius Thomas, but I would honestly look for Josh Reynolds right now. He's probably out on that free agent waiver wire, and he's going to be the guy replacing that target. And when Cooper was out, he was getting a good amount of looks, and the way they use those like top three guys, the tight end's not really involved. You can still, you can get like Robert Woods and Cooper. Just Robert Woods is turning into that Cooper guy, and then Reynolds can turn into Robert Woods. Like, he could be the guy coming across the middle. So you get a team that uses those top three guys as top 24 wide receivers each.
And they score. Like, that's just what that team does. They just score. They're on like
and they have a ton of yards, so they have enough yards to go around.
Right. I like that idea as well. I like adding Josh Reynolds. If anything, if you have a deep enough bench, add him, and just to have him in case, maybe he does break out. Maybe he does kind of fill into one of those roles. Of the guys that he put here, I'm with you on that one as well. I'm going to take Sutton. I don't mind Moncrief. I'm just thinking that it's not like a guy that you want to consistently have to lean on, where I think Sutton maybe you can. And I like Christian Kirk. Really liked him coming out of the draft. Just not quite sold on the Cardinals' passing offense yet. I just talked up David Johnson, but that's a different thing. Like, I almost feel like he's guaranteed to get some touches moving forward between his carries and throwing the ball in the backfield. Christian Kirk, while I like him, he's got some big play potential. Definitely not a guarantee for targets at this point. So of those, I like Sutton, but I do like your thought process on Reynolds.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Before we sign off here, I want to tell you all about Pristine Auction because they've partnered with us on another giveaway. We're going to be announcing that very soon here, but in the time being, head over to pristineauction.com. I got tons of goods for the man cave. Quick, free, easy to register. You only pay when you win. In the how did you hear about us section, when you go to register, make sure that you enter the Loaded Box podcast. Let them know that we told you to head over that way. It's pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com. Other than that, DJ, do you have any other DFS guys you want to chit-chat about?
No, I think maybe since we're going to do this 2 podcasts, we should add some maybe like waiver wires or start sitting the next one for those fantasy people. It's felt quick.
Yeah, feels good.
That's what my wife said.
Yeah, always. Every single time.
That's what she said.
I'm going to cry now. Follow us on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.com. Next episode, as DJ said, we're going to be recording our second week 11 preview podcast here. That's going to be breaking down all of the games with our straight up picks, with our against the spread picks. And check us out on iTunes, searching Loaded Box, subscribe, rate, and review. And with that, DJ, send us out.
Bye. Gotta bring the energy to this next one.